Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about the Britax One4Life. Now, this is kind of a fun car seat, but I'm going to start with, since I have the baby buckled in, this is a 20-inch doll that I use for most of my videos actually, but as for a fit for a newborn, we're getting a pretty good one. The straps are just barely below the shoulders though, and the seat does require the straps to be below the shoulders rear facing, not at. So a smaller newborn, this is as low as the headrest gets, and we're using all the infant padding. So if you had a smaller newborn, I'd probably say you need an infant an infant car seat for a little bit, and then use this seat. But it does have like a lot of reclines. So on the side, we'll talk about them in a little bit, but there's a lot of reclines, and the seat does allow the use of a pool noodle or a rolled towel if the baby doesn't have neck control. So as far as achieving infant recline, it's possible in most vehicles. But as far as getting a good newborn fit, I think it's probably hit or miss, depends on the newborn. Now this is a doll, and it probably scrunches this way, and that's the way that a newborn wouldn't, since they have a spine and a doll doesn't. Again, I probably would recommend it for a newbie, but if you're getting like a low limit infant carrier and then you're going to switch to a convertible really young, this would be a good option because you can get the reclines, and because it does fit smaller babies well, just maybe not newborns. Now, I'm going to pop the baby out and we'll talk about the car seat. So, my baby away. Now, rear facing 5 to 50 pounds and less than 1 inch above the head. Now, of course, that would be, be up here, so it would be 1 inch above, below the top of the headrest. The infant insert is needed, it says right on it, I love that. It is needed from 5 pounds to 20 pounds. Or not needed, but it can be used from 5 pounds to 20 pounds. It can come out before 20 pounds. With a 5-pound infant, you're gonna need it. But after that, it can come out. We have a head pillow right here. I mean, you saw the baby's head in there. It was really squishing the head in, so you're probably gonna remove that pretty quickly. And then you have shoulder pads. They're not required. They do come off. But they are there if you need them or your child wants them. Now, one thing that the manual does say is that you see how this is folded up right now? That needs to be folded up until they are, I believe it's 20 pounds. And then once they're 20 pounds, you can unfold it. And, I mean, when they're under 20 pounds, the headrest is going to be way down here anyway. Once they're over 20 pounds, you can unfold it, wherever your child needs the headrest to be. Now, also, sorry, I have a list here. We're going to continue talking about rear facing. Preferred install is lap shoulder belt. This is the a Britax clicktight model. You just pull this part up right here, and then underneath there is these 2 little red handles, and you're going to, let's see if I can get this propped up so you can see me while I do it. You're going to hold that up, and you're going to squeeze them at the same time, and this lifts up. This is your clicktight panel. Your rear facing belt path is going to come through right here, and your seatbelt will come across here. The recommended installation is lap shoulder belt. It can be installed with lower anchors. They're stored under here, as you can see, and you'll see in my install video as well. And it can be installed with a lap belt, but not recommended. Most cars today, though, have lap shoulder belts, so that's not an issue. It does have a max lower anchor limit for rear facing at 30 pounds, which is among the lowest that I've seen for car seats. So basically, you're going to be installing this for a seatbelt from very early. The child I use this for is over 30 pounds and was when I got this seat. So that's how you close it. You just press firmly on those red handles, put it back down. If you are having trouble closing the panel, you have over tightened the seatbelt, or you've locked the seatbelt. You don't lock the seatbelt and you don't want to tighten it. Like, you tighten it, but you're not going to, like, normally when you install a car seat, you're trying to make sure that lap belt is as tight as you can get it. You're pulling on the shoulder belt, making sure it's tight before you lock it or before you put it in the lock off, like on Kiko seats. You don't do this with this. Watch my install video, but basically you put it across, you give it one little tug, you close the clicktight panel, and this thing doesn't move. So keep that in mind. Don't over tighten and don't lock the seatbelt. Same thing for lower anchors, just don't over tighten. Make sure you watch my install video because I do touch on that when I'm showing you how to install it. No more than 3 inches of overhang of the base. So no more than 3 inches. To recline it, you press these red buttons on both sides, you press them in, and then as you can see, the seat moves. And there's 8 reclines, and then B is for booster. I don't know if you can see it right there, B. So 1 through 8 can be used for rear facing or forward facing as long as you get within the level bubble. You're not going to be using 8, what is this on one? You're not going to be using 1 for forward facing. You're not going to be using 8 for rear facing, but you can use whatever you need to achieve level. Now, that being said, let's talk about level. All right, so we have this little level bubble right here. I'm going to move the seat closer. It's really heavy though, so bear with me here. So we have this little level bubble, and you can see there is a dark blue section, and there's a section that is green with blue lines, and then there's like a little black arrow. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right here. And for rear facing with no neck control, the black arrow needs to be in that dark blue section, kind of where it is right now. It's a little bit over right now, but it needs to be in this dark blue section like that. And then if they have neck control, you can get it over into this area, into the green with blue lines, or light blue with, yeah, it's green with blue lines. For forward facing, it has to be in the green with blue lines. It cannot be in the black. Like, the arrow cannot be touching the black at all. But it can be, like, barely, like, you know, one side of it can be touching the line of the dark blue, but it can't be in the black. So, keep that in mind. Forward facing, this seat goes from 22 to 65 pounds, less than 49 inches, and their tops of their ears do not go over the top of this headrest. This has a really tall headrest, so this is going to fit a lot of children for a long time. It's called a One4Life. It's probably not like your come home from the hospital car seat, but it's going to get your child probably a long ways through the harnessing, just because of how tall this top harness height is. And then once they hit either 49 inches or 65 pounds, then you can change this to high back booster. And I will show you in a minute how to store the harness because it's a little finicky, but it has to be on recline B for, and for forward facing, you can't have more than 3 inches of overhang on the front. But you can put it into recline 8, and that gets a pretty upright. Again, watch my install video. I talk about that. The lower anchor max for forward facing before we get into booster is 35 pounds, which again is very low, especially if you're maxing out the rear facing capabilities of the seat. To install it forward facing, your belt path is up here, and you run the seatbelt through here, and then you close the same click-tight panel. And so same thing as rear facing, you don't want to over tighten or anything like that. The lower anchors will be run through that same hole if you're using lower anchor install, but again, maxes out at 35 pounds, so you're probably not. And our top tether is right here. It is a V-shaped tether. Okay, I'm not gonna pull it off, but this is how you tighten and loosen it. So basically, you bring it over the seat, it goes around the headrest, and then you tighten it on this side, and you just keep feeding this strap through here until this is tight. And of course, no more than 1 inch of movement at the belt path. And before we go into booster, Britax has 2 fabric options. This is the safe wash option for the seat, which I got on purpose. It is machine washable and able to go tumble dry low in a dryer. I do hang dry it just because I hang dry all of my car seats, because my other ones are not dryer safe. But you can only wash it 30 times. So that's when Britax says you need to buy a new cover. To be honest, my oldest child is 3, and he's had his convertible car seats for 2 years, just over 2 years, and I have not watched his convertible car seats 30 times. So it's probably going to last you a while. And as they get older, they get less messy, maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed. Anyway, so back to for booster use. So basically, the shoulder belt's gonna come down through here, and it's gonna go through the belt guide. Same thing on this side, there's another belt guide. And then the lap belt comes up through here where you would put the seat belt through underneath the click-tight panel. This time you're putting it obviously over the child, and then they meet over here and go down through and out. So hopefully that makes sense. Obviously for at that point you would no longer be using, like, there's a crotch pad cover here. There is 3 crotch buckle slots for rear and forward facing. You just don't want the child to be sitting on it. Not a diaper doesn't count and clothes don't count. And then booster mode, you can use the top tether and the lower anchors to hold the seat in place, but they are not like installing the seat. So basically what you do is you just lift up the click-tight panel. You would take the lower anchors, which are these, but honestly it's not preferred method, and you're going to run them through the forward-facing path up here, and this is where they get stored when they're not in use. Anyway, so you're going to run them through the forward-facing path and connect them to the seat of the car, and then also the top tether. You have to use both together or none at all. And all they're doing is holding the seat in place when the child's not in it. So for booster use, when the car seat's installed and the child's in a harness, of course it's very important, and you can't move less than 1 inch, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You need to be very conscientious of that. Once it gets to booster mode, it's just holding the car seat in place when the child is not in it. And now this is a really heavy car seat. You don't want this to become a projectile. You don't want any booster to become a projectile. But, so that's an option. If you choose not to use them, you just need the child to buckle the car seat in when they're not in it, because the seatbelt will hold it in place. So anyway, you close your click-tight panel. Actually, first, we're going to open our click-tight panel. Oh, something else I forgot to tell you. When you install with a seatbelt, you do not open the click-tight panel until you've unbuckled the seatbelt. So what I do is I unbuckle the seatbelt and I hold it, and then I open the click-tight panel, and then I let the seatbelt go. Now, my seatbelts don't retract very fast, especially, I don't know, they just don't. But some do retract really fast, so if the seatbelt gets stuck in the click-tight panel, it can make it more difficult to open. But you do want to unbuckle it before you open the click-tight panel. Now, back to booster. We're going to take our crotch buckle out. So basically what you're going to do is slide it through here. And crotch buckle's out. I do have the crotch buckle pad on, but that can come off. And then you're just going to take this and you're going to store it right there. That's really nice. I love that they do that for you. And then you always have it, so like if you're converting this back to a convertible seat for a child who's younger, it hasn't expired yet, then I think that's awesome that they do that for you. Now, oh, and I want to show you, now I'm thinking of that, the expiration date is, I don't actually know where it is on the seat. I'll have to find it for you before we finish this video. But Britax likes to hide theirs. I've had this apart too to wash it, because this is my son's primary seat in my vehicle. But I think it's under this part up here, because that's what, yep, there it is. So there's your manufacture date, model number, manufactured. This one expires 11/30/2033, and I bought it in 11/2023. So this is a relatively new seat, and 10-year expiration, so that's nice. Anyway, back to this. So you store your crotch buckle under here so you can't lose it. Love that. Close this. Always just push on those red buttons. It makes it easier. The Britax poplars, very similar. All right, so then you take these off like that. Take them off, and you're going to undo. So these are just Velcro right here. You're just going to do that on both sides. You're going to put this behind it. Okay. And then you're just going to fold this up. So basically we're going to take these, bring them down. So we're going to need these again. So I'm just going to fold this up so it stays up out of our way. So to put the harness away for boostering, you're going to take this, you're going to buckle it, and then you're going to take these, and you're going to put these over them. Okay, so take them, put them over each buckle. I like that the shoulder pads are attached, so if your child decides to rip one off, it's not going anywhere. It's attached to the other one. So that's really nice, and it kind of fits behind the fabric of that. So anyway, you're going to put these under here. Then you're going to buckle them like this. All right. Then you're going to, you want to make sure this is all the way loose too. So make sure this is all the way loose. And what you're going to do is you're going to put these straps, so basically you're also going to take this part down. I forgot to do that earlier. Take this and just like pull it in the seat. There's little Velcro parts that you take out of the way. Anyway, then you're just going to kind of tuck it around behind the panel. And you're going to push it down into the panel. So you don't remove the harness, you just tuck it out of the way. And you're going to push it down into that panel, the buckles and this. All right, and once they're in there, you just cover them up with the fabric, and there you go. Make sure everything's back there, make sure it's tightened back up so it's not in your way, and then you put everything back, and the harness is no longer in your way. You have a booster seat. So that's how that becomes a booster seat, and I like that you don't take anything out and kind of just store it away, because then you can't lose it. And this is a good way to show you that we have 1, 2, 3 crotch buckles. I've only used the middle one because this inner one is just really small. So my child was 3 before he got this car seat. Manual comes with it. Oh, booster. Has to be on recline B. We already talked about that. 40 to 120 pounds and 44 to 63 inches. So the minimum, you have to be 40 pounds and you have to be 44 inches. And the child can use it until 120 pounds or 63 inches. I like that it has really high limits. Again, it's a really tall seat. This is very similar to the Britax dedicated boosters, but this is also a convertible seat, so it's really heavy, it's really bulky, it's really big. It may be difficult for your child to buckle in this. So that's gonna be the one drawback to this being a booster. As a convertible seat, rear facing, forward facing, I love it. These just twist out and you can go in the dishwasher. And let me see if I'm missing anything. Oh, and the tops of the ears cannot go above here, same as forward facing. You need to have coverage to the tops of the ears. Adults with a headrest need to have that. So just remember that once they are forward facing, you worry about tops of their ears. When they're rear facing, most seats is less than 1 inch above their head. Not all though, read your manual. Very important, when you get a new car seat, this is your homework for the night. Read your manual, okay? This is your car seat's best friend. Now, let me see if I'm missing anything else. Oh, and when the booster, it does say it has to sit on the shoulder. Of course, you don't want to be up here by the ear, but you have your belt guides. You can pull this down to like where the child is, so that it sits on their shoulder but doesn't duck behind it, isn't too high, and it also sits across the very tops of their thighs, like where it meets their hips. You don't want it like way down on their lap. So those are things that make them booster ready for this car seat. So let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I'm Sarah. I'm a CPST. I review car seats to help make your search easier. I hope that helped. It was kind of long-winded, but there's a lot to get through. I do really like this seat. Like, I do use this seat rear-facing for my 3-year-old. He likes it. I like it. The install is great. Some people have had issues with the harness not like tightening and loosening. I don't have that issue. I have had some issues with it like getting uneven, but basically you just raise this all the way up. You loosen it all the way and you pull it straight because it's a continuous loop. So that happens on any car seat, really. That's the continuous loop that's all attached. So I really like it. I like the safe wash. It does come with also Cool Flow. I think I forgot to mention that earlier. And that is not machine washable. It is hand wash only. So pick your battle. I like to be able to wash my car seats if they can't go in the washer machine. I don't own it. I don't really mind the hang drying. That's kind of most car seats. I don't put this in the dryer. I have heard of people saying that the covers, like they've had issues getting the covers back on. It can be really tricky to get this cover on. Like, I'm looking at it right now and I just put it back together after washing it, and there's a couple places I need to fix. But the cover's very tricky. But again, your manual has pages and pages on how to put it back on. So read your manual. And make sure you like and subscribe. Come back and watch some more of my videos. I do have an install video for this as well, so make sure you check that out. And thanks for watching.